hope is going to be a 5-part series demonstrating for you the differences between the BLENDTEC Total Blender and the VITAMIX 5200. If you happen to be in the market for a high-performance blender and you've done your homework correctly, there's a great chance your choice is coming down between the 5200 and the Total Blender. They are both phenomenal machines. You're going to be happy with either one. The ultimate goal of the videos is not to crown a champion. I'm not trying to determine which one is better. What I want to do is point out the subtle differences between the two, and maybe you will pick out differences that steer you toward one or the other. My goal is for you to find the best one for you. And hopefully we can accomplish that through these 5 videos. Today's is going to attempt to determine if there's any significant power difference between the two machines. And the way I've chosen to do that is to do a vegetable juice or a smoothie. Now this is not a recipe out of either book. You're not going to find this in the VITAMIX recipe book nor the BLENDTEC. This is just a set of ingredients that I've chosen that I happen to like, that I hope will put these machines to the test, which is the goal of the video. Now if I were using the BLENDTEC recipe book, it's going to tell me exactly what ingredients to load in the jar and exactly which pre-programmed blend cycle button to use. And if I do that, I'm going to get a perfect result every time using these pre-programmed blend cycles. But if you're using your own recipe, you may not want to use the blend cycle buttons. You also have the ability to operate the machine manually with the speed up and speed down buttons. The VITAMIX is completely manually controlled. So in my opinion, the best way to determine if there's any power difference is to use the exact same ingredients in both machines, run them for the exact length of time on the exact same speeds, or as close to the same speeds as we can possibly determine. And to do that, I'm going to use the manual controls with the BLENDTEC. Now I've seen plenty of BLENDTEC versus VITAMIX videos online. You probably have too. Not all of them, in my opinion, are doing the consumers any favors. There's a lot of misuse in these comparisons. Not every video shows the correct way to use the machine. They're not using similar ingredients. They're not using the tools that come with the machines. I've seen them both run simultaneously on the same outlet. You cannot do that and get satisfactory results with these machines. These two machines together on high speeds are pulling close to 25 amp. There's no standard kitchen outlet that's going to be wired for 25 amps. You're going to have either 15 or 20 amp circuits in most kitchens. I run into this problem all the time when I demonstrate the machines in the warehouse clubs at my road shows. I have to share power on the same circuit with every other demonstration going on in the club. It definitely affects the machines. Now don't be scared. They're not going to be adversely affecting your kitchen. If you don't run them at the same time as you run everything else, then you're going to get great results with these machines. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and run the machines. Let's do this demonstration. I'm going to use the same ingredients in both. We're going to start with some Roma tomato. Now in general with these machines, you want to load them with the more liquid ingredients lower in the jar. The Roma tomatoes are very high in liquid. We're going to add some cucumber. The carrots are very high in fiber. This is a good test for the machine. Didn't put the cucumber in the VITAMIX. Let's do that. Here's the carrot. Here is celery. This is a great test for any blender simply because it's very high in fiber. It's very stringy. In fact, a lot of regular household blenders will not handle celery just because that stringy fiber gets caught up in the blades. Here's some for flavor. I'm using some sweet peppers. You folks may recognize these ingredients. They're relatively readily available. This is fresh baby spinach. And this is kale. One of the best foods on the planet in terms of nutrition. Now these ingredients are optional. I add this just because this is what I like. I'm going to add a little bit of water. This is about 4 ounces of water in both jars. I do this just to make this juice a little bit more liquid so I can enjoy drinking it a little more. I've got a lot of fiber in here. I don't want it to be like a sauce going down. I want it to resemble a juice. These are not juice extractors. We're not squeezing out the liquid like a juicer will do. We're utilizing every part of the fruit or vegetable that's good for us. So I want to make this a little bit more liquid to coincide with all the fiber we're getting as well. I'm going to season it with a little black pepper. This is also optional. You can season any way you want, or you can leave it out. And then I'm going to add a few ice cubes as well. This is also optional. I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One, to make the juice a little bit cool, a little more pleasurable to drink in my opinion. But also, as this ice starts to blend, it will add a little bit more liquid as well. And that was 5 ice cubes. We'll get 5 in the VITAMIX as well. I'm going to make sure this is the same for both. We'll put the lid on. And we'll start the machine. Now, how long we run this test is completely up to us. We could do a 10-second test. We could do a 30-second test. We could run these machines for 2 minutes, 3 minutes if we wanted to. It doesn't matter as long as we run them both for the same length of time. Now, if I'm running the machine manually on the BLENDTEC, it will stop after 50 seconds, 50 seconds. If I wanted to stop it before then, I could. If I want to run it longer than 50 seconds, I would just start it up again. The VITAMIX, you start yourself, you pick your speed, you run it any length of time you want, and then you stop it yourself. Because the BLENDTEC will stop in 50 seconds, we'll just use that as our arbitrary length of time to do this test. I don't have to stop it, it will stop on its own, but I do need to hold the speed up button down to get to the speed I want. And I want to run this as fast as it will go because that's what we'll be doing on the VITAMIX. That's speed 10. So let's go ahead and do this test. If there's any significant difference after these machines stops, we should be able to tell when we pour the results in these glasses. Now with the VITAMIX, just bear with me, I'm getting my timer set and we'll start it. Now, one thing I forgot to mention before I started the VITAMIX, it comes with this tamper. In my opinion, if the machine is designed to use a tool, you should be using it, even in this comparison. I think it's perfectly legitimate to use this tamper in a test like this. Now, this tamper is a big point of contention for a lot of BLENDTEC and VITAMIX users. Some people absolutely hate having to use that. Other people think they've got a lot of control using it as well. But for the purposes of comparing the machines, you should use, in my opinion, the tools that are designed to give you the best results with each machine. Okay, here's the BLENDTEC juice. It looks very smooth. Here's the VITAMIX. It looks smooth as well. BLENDTEC, VITAMIX, I don't know if you can discern any difference Just in looking at them, you may have to take my word for this, I do not notice any difference. Bear with me, I'll try them. The BLENDTEC is thick but very smooth. The VITAMIX, thick and smooth as well. Honestly, I cannot tell any difference between the two. They're both great. No discernible power differences. It's going to be a 5-part series demonstrating for you the differences between the BLENDTEC Total Blender and the VITAMIX 5200. If you happen to be in the market for a high-performance blender and you've done your homework correctly, there's a great chance your choice is coming down between the 5200 and the Total Blender. They are both phenomenal machines. You're going to be happy with either one. The ultimate goal of the videos is not to crown a champion. I'm not trying to determine which one is better. What I want to do is point out the subtle differences between the two, and maybe you will pick out differences that steer you toward one or the other. My goal is for you to find the best one for you. And hopefully we can accomplish that through these 5 videos. Today's is going to attempt to determine if there's any significant power difference between the two machines. And the way I've chosen to do that is to do a vegetable juice or a smoothie. Now, this is not a recipe out of either book. You're not going to find this in the VITAMIX recipe book nor the BLENDTEC.